Alright, in this video I'm going to show you the landing page formula, and you can use this to collect leads from your visitors, whether you're giving away a free digital gift, signing up people for your webinar, or even getting interest for your live events. The whole formula still applies. So let's start with this page from head to toe, and I'm just using this as an example. Okay, now the most important thing and the one thing that stands out mainly is the headline. Now you notice this pre-headline here, the author was featured on. Now this is something you can optionally add if you have been featured on some of the local or international news websites. Then you can put the logos over here, but I'll have you know that this is not important, or I would say that it's not something that you must have in order to have a high converting landing page. But if you have it, then feel free to add it in. But I'll just have you know that it's not integral to your success, and that's the good news. The most important thing here is the headline. So as you can see here, it says here, free book, how to use the internet to make 5 figures per month income. Now, if you are in the internet marketing niche by any chance, you might have heard of school of thoughts where you are told to be as specific with the numbers as possible, like for example, how to use the internet to make $10,322.82 per month. Now, this might be applicable if you are using other traffic methods or you're using warm traffic, but when you create landing pages like this, you should factor in the possibility that you're using the likes of Facebook ads to market yourself. And I'll have you know that Facebook ads do not like you to put in hyped up numbers or things like that. So the safest ground that you have here is to be putting in things like 5 figures per month, and that's okay. So another example would be perhaps a free webinar training, how to create a 5 figure per month income in 4 steps. Now that headline can pass. So now you know why I had worded the headline in such a way. So I advise you to check out the Facebook ads policy before you publish and advertise your landing page through Facebook ads. And that's a very important thing here, because you're going to be using the likes of Facebook ads to continuously drive in evergreen traffic to your landing page, and this is the one you're making right now. The most important thing here is that you must draw a line between a headline that generates interest and get people committed rather than just curious to actually put in their name and email address, which I'm going to get to that in a while. And at the same time, you can't overhype it, and because Facebook, they don't like you to hype things up, and with a very good reason, because they are regulating the quality of the ads that they display to the users. So you don't want to hype things up and blow things out of proportion, especially in the main headline. Now, if you look at a book cover like this, that's okay from what I had discovered. However, the most important thing is the headline. And more about a headline as well is that I find it that if you explain it in about 2 or 3 lines maximum, that works pretty fine and get straight to the point, because most of the pre-selling is already done in the Facebook ads post, which that's going to be covered in another video tutorial. Next up, you have, of course, the picture of your gift, if it's applicable, and most of the time it is. It could be a free ebook, or if you're doing a automated webinar, then obviously you're going to put a thumbnail of a video over here, or maybe a picture of yourself doing a presentation. That's totally fine. Now, the next really important thing though is that you're going to come up with a list of benefits. So over here it's written, you're going to discover, followed by a list of 5 action points or 5 benefit points. Now, a lot of beginning internet marketers get this part wrong. The really important thing here is that you want to pique interest. Like, bear in mind, most of the time you're going to be expecting people who have never heard of you before this, also known as cold traffic, and you have to give them really good reasons why they should trust you right now, even to give their name and email address, and that's really important here. So in the next 4 to 5 bullet points, you're going to list out a really good reason why they should join your mailing list right now, And we know that, of course, you're going to be getting your free gift or join your webinar, or in this case, it could be a live event. That's still all the same to you. So what you do here is that in this 4 to 5 points, you must address an immediate problem that your potential customer or visitor is having problems with right now, and they're looking for a solution. So the way I see it is that it's like they're in pain right now, and you are giving them a solution. And it's not just a band-aid solution, it's got to be something that solves the problem right here, right now. And yes, we've heard a lot of marketers talk about giving value, and while that is true, if you think in terms of solving a serious problem right now, you're going to be more than halfway there, and your visitors will be more than inclined to part with their names and email address here. So what you do here is that you get into all the finer details on what your free offer can solve on the spot. So as you can see here, it's done in 4 little steps here, and the final bullet point is always written as "and many more" or "and much more" to get interest going. Okay, so once you're done with that, there's this button here called download now. Now this is the place where you can put in the opt-in box where you can ask for names and email address, and it's totally fine to put in the opt-in form over here, but on this page you might notice something's a little bit different here, where someone has to click on a button, and there you go. This is where the opt-in box appears. Now this page was built with a page builder called OptimizePress, and the function for this thing is called Overlay Optimizer. So if you're using another page builder, it might be called by another name, but just know that in recent times, this pop-up box is a commonly utilized tool to ask for name and email address. Now, if you're wondering why it takes an extra step for people to put in their names and email address, and why not you just put in the opt-in box here right away? Personally, I had found out by putting this, it actually increases conversions and opt-in rates. And number 2, you have to also factor in that nowadays there are a lot of people viewing websites on mobile. So this would be quite an encouraging method. It also saves some space. It makes the site look a little bit better on mobile as well. And if they're willing to be committed, they'll click on the button and they'll put in the name and email address. And finally, really quick at the bottom here is that you're going to have the very essential pages like earnings disclaimer, privacy policy, and terms of use. I'm not going to cover this in detail in this video, but these are really essential pages because when you advertise on the likes of Facebook ads or Google AdWords, obviously you are required to put in all these legal pages. And you might notice here that there's this text. This site is not part of the Facebook website or Facebook Inc. Additionally, this site is not endorsed by Facebook in any way. Facebook is a trademark of Facebook Inc. This is something that you can add to your landing page as well as a formality. And that's really all there is to it. Creating a landing page is not difficult. In fact, it is quite simple. The most important thing is that as long as you address the key concerns and how you can solve problems on the spot, and you're willing to prove your worth, then you can expect a lot of people to sign up with you right away. And remember, the purpose of having a landing page is to have people pipe with their names and email address so that you can build a list and you can follow up with them for as long as they stay on your email list. So that's really the premise of having a landing page. I'll be talking about how you can create your page step by step in detail in another video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use OptimizePress, a very well-known page builder, to build your opt-in or landing page. So once you have installed and set up OptimizePress within your WordPress account, you'll see that on the left-hand menu, you can see there's OptimizePress and go to create new page. And you will see the page that I'm seeing right now where you can choose a variety of templates to begin with. So as you can see here, OptimizePress gives you a general selection of any opt-in page templates that you can choose from, but for the purpose of demonstration, I'm going to show you how to create one from scratch. So if you scroll all the way down, you're going to see that you can start with a blank page. So let's start off with the first template, and let's just choose this one and click on the green button, use this template. You'll be prompted to name your page, and I'm just going to give it a name. I'll just call it test for the fun of it, but of course you will want to give this a proper name yourself. So once you're done, click create page. The live editor shows up. Now please note that this page is currently in a draft mode, so be sure to set it to published when you are back at the pages afterwards. So before you get started, you should take a look at the menu on the left. So let's go step by step. We'll start off with layout settings. And you'll see that you can actually add the header, navigation, or footer area, but for the purpose of this landing page, there's no need for this at all. So I'm going to leave this alone. You can also edit the color scheme settings. The most important thing you want to look at is probably the overall page color options, where you can change the background color or the hyperlink color, but personally I prefer to leave this alone. And it's always ideal to have your background page color either white or a light color like light gray. So I'm going to leave this alone as well. And hyperlink colors are always best left with default blue. So again, I'm going to leave this alone. Next is the typography settings. And this is where you can get a little bit fancy. You can especially change the theme text, paragraph styles, where you can change the size of the fonts, which is the standard words, and the color. The same goes for the heading styles as well. But right now, I'm going to just leave this alone as well. But I'll have you know that especially the theme, H1 heading styles, H2 heading styles, and maybe furthermore, you can have this edited and give a certain standard look and feel throughout your website. But I'm going to leave this alone for now. Next up is the page settings. This is going to be important afterwards, because when you advertise on Facebook ads or even Google AdWords, you will be required to add in some third-party scripts to the page. So where you're going to put this is going to be in the other scripts, and this is where you're going to be adding the codes and save it here. Okay, so I'm just giving you a heads up in advance. Now you don't have to bother with the rest, like membership settings, content templates. Now all these are not important at all. You won't have to look at them. So let's get started. Now the very first thing you need to do is click add new row, and you see that there are many types of rows you can add, but most of the time you'll be using either the one column or two columns. And the premise of the landing page is quite simple. So you'll be using one column, click insert into page, and you will notice that you can now add element. But before we get ahead of ourselves, you see that when you hover your mouse here, there's this edit icon, click on it. What I want to draw your attention to is this thing called, is it a full width row? You'll want to have this ticked at all times, so that it's going to prevent something very strange from happening, where you start seeing small little white bars between the rows. You want to prevent that from happening, so tick this, and you can pretty much ignore the rest until here. Top padding and bottom padding, I like to put a certain number here, like 50 and 50 pixels, so that there is some kind of space in between the rows so they don't look too cramped. So I normally put about 30 to 50 in value over here. Okay, now if you want to add in a background image, is optional, but personally I like to keep my landing pages clean, neat, and fast loading. So I'm going to leave all this alone right now. So don't be intimidated by the sheer amount of properties that you can tinker with. Just know that it's a very powerful page builder, but let's operate on simplicity. So click update, and you'll notice that there's a little bit space right now. It'll be more prominent afterwards as you add another row or two. So the first thing we're going to add here is an element, and you will notice that there is a lot of elements that you can add. If you are new to OptimizePress, then this might be intimidating. However, let's keep it simple and straight to the point. So the one thing I want to add here right now is the headline. So I'm going to click headline, and you'll see that there are also a few styles of headlines that you can add. but let's go with the standard one here right now. So this is going to be the first thing you're going to add on your page, and let's try to reconstruct a very similar page that you have seen in another video. So I'm going to just call it free book, discover 4 easy steps to making 5 figures per month online. Now I know the headline could be better, of course, but this is just an example, and let's just do it that way. So you can underline certain words by pressing Ctrl U, or Command U if you're using Mac. And you see there's a custom font settings. You can modify it anyhow you want. And further down, you see there's this thing called a headline tag where you can put as H1, H2, or H3. If you remember just now in the typography settings, when you set a certain style for a certain headline tag, then it will act accordingly. So let's just go with headline 1 or H1 in short. And this should be the biggest appearing font on the website or the web page. Let's click insert, and there we go. Looks just nice. We'll keep it that way. So the next up, by the way, before I get ahead of myself, you'll want to save your work regularly. So click on save and continue before you continue, definitely. Okay, so next up, you will want to add, let's try adding another row. So click on add new row, and let's add 2 columns this time. Insert into page, and you'll notice that you can now add elements into 2 different columns and they are equal. So let's edit the row first. Is it a full width row? As mentioned earlier, yes, you want to tick this. And top padding, let's put 50 and 50 again. Again, you can feel free to manipulate the values anyhow you want. That's just my personal preference. So I'm not going to change anything else. I'm going to click update. And over here, I'm going to click on add element. Let's try adding an image this time. So search for image, or you can just scroll down, look for it, and click on images. You'll notice that there are a few types of styles you can add, but I like to keep things simple. So over here, you want to click on select file, and you can drop an image file over here. All right, but because I've already used quite some images before, I'm going to use one as an example. But if you're using a new WordPress, then obviously you should be adding a new image and upload it to your WordPress site. So I'm just going to use one image as an example, just for the fun of it. Click insert into post, and you'll have an image. Now, there are other properties you can play with, but I'm just going to leave them alone. You see how easy it is. Most of the time you can just pretty much use this page builder basically, and you can get a lot done. So nice, we have an image over here, and on the right side here we're going to add in the, let's try the text block for a change. So look for text block. So a text block is basically an element where you add all the standard text that you normally see on web pages. And over here, let's just put it, you will discover. Okay, so here's what I like to do. I like to have this whole thing in bold and click insert, and here we go. And next up, we click add element, and the next thing we're going to look for is the bullet block. So bullet blocks are basically those benefit points you see where they are stylized by itemized sentences, and this is what bullet block does. So I always go for the biggest one here right away, and you will see that Optimized Press comes ready with a selection, a very generous one at that, a selection of icons you can choose. So I'm going to just choose this one because this looks nice, and this is where you start listing out the items. So let's go. I'm just going to put them out one by one. You will discover the first list here is basically you're reiterating the headline, just paraphrasing it. 4 simple, easy to follow steps to creating a 5-figure per month internet business. So as you can see here, I'm basically paraphrasing the headline, and after that it's followed by a few more key points that are covered in your free offer, whether it's a webinar, whether it's a book, or even in a live event. Again, this whole thing is all relevant and applicable. So the number one, little known secret to doubling your profits within the next. Again, I'm just making this up, by the way. I'm just making this up as I go along, but I just want you to know that this is really important. You want to have all these benefit points drive the point home, and all this guides your visitor to actually prompt them and sign up with you. Next up, let me just get this part over really quick. Okay, and we're done. So if you might notice that the fonts appear a little bit small, you can always change them either through the typography settings, or you can edit these elements manually. But I like to go with the typography settings because this is a one save changes everything. So I will change the theme text to maybe size 20, and let's click update and see what happens. Aha. Now you see that the font size is bigger and it looks nicer. All right. Now, personally, I would suggest that you have an image about the same length as the one on the right side so that it balances out. But right now, I'm just doing this as an example. Okay. Now, next up, the most important thing of the landing page is the call to action. And this is where you're going to add another element called the overlay optimizer. So this is what allows you to create a light pop-up box. So choose just that, and you'll be given a choice to choose how you want to have the buttons look like. Now, if you're feeling a little bit lazy, you can just choose one of the default buttons, or you can actually customize it. So I'm just going to choose this one here and choose the right word. Let's see. Get access now sounds nice. Okay, click insert, and you have a button over here already. Let's click save and continue. Let's not forget that. And we're not done yet though. You see, when people click on this button, they're expecting a call to action of some kind. So you want to click on the edit button. And this is where you can add whatever you want to appear when someone clicks on the button over there. So the most important thing right now is that you want to have an opt-in box added in. So it doesn't matter whether you're using the likes of Aweber, GetResponse, or MailChimp, whatever. Now, first thing you want to do is you want to choose in the style for your opt-in box. So I'm just going to go with one. This looks nice. Let's now scratch that. This looks nice. I'm going to go with this. Now, this is where you add in the form HTML. So you want to be sure that in your autoresponder account, you'll add in the opt-in form over here. And it has to be a full HTML, not just some snippet or a short form script. It's got to be a full form, and you'll want to have it added here. Now you can change the other contents whatsoever. I'm going to remove this. I don't like this default text. The submit button, okay, I'm just leave it default. So what I just did here is that I pasted my own opt-in form from my own Aweber account. So again, it doesn't matter whether you're using GetResponse or any other autoresponder services. You want to paste the full HTML code here, and only then you're allowed to proceed and click insert. So there you go. Can you see how easy it is to create a landing page? And I did this all in mere minutes while explaining to you. And let's not forget, let's have one more row. Let's click at one column here. And as you know, again, click edit. Is it a full width row? Yes. Top padding 50 and 50. Again, these values can be changed anyhow you want. Click update, and this is where you will add links to your other pages like the earnings disclaimer and so on. So what I like to do is I'm going to call it a text block. Click here, and I'm just going to put copyright, say sitename.com. Obviously, this is going to be your site. All rights reserved. And next slide, I'm going to put maybe earnings disclaimer, privacy policy, terms of use. So it's totally up to you. And how you add a hyperlink is quite simply to select the text, click on this link icon here, this chain icon here, and you can just give it the address or the site or the page that you're putting for the earnings disclaimer. So I'm just going to put hashtag for now. All right. Okay, and if you want this to open in a new tab, you can click on link options and select this thing called open link in a new tab. Okay, so what happens is that it will prevent people from opening on the same website, just like that. Okay, and it's ideal that you have all this align center, so click on align center and then click insert. Okay, save and continue, and let's see what the page looks like right now. So there you have it. That's how easy it is to create a landing page using OptimizePress. Again, take note, this was all done in just mere minutes while showing you how it's done. So once you have all the text ready, and after a little bit of practice, creating landing pages and other pages like this is going to be a breeze. And let's see if this is functional. You click on this and there you go. The opt-in form appears. All right, we're done. So we've already established that if you want to attract people to join your list or get people to put their names and email address, then you have to give something of value. Or to be exact, can you solve an immediate problem that your prospects are facing right now? So it doesn't matter what niche you're in, whether you're in the internet business niche, in personal growth, health, dating, it's all the same. So here are a few school of thoughts when it comes to creating your free offer. Firstly, the medium of your offer is not surprisingly not that important. It can be anything from a PDF ebook to templates and swipe files to video, audio MP3, automated webinar, or even running a live seminar. And yes, it's possible to run a free live seminar and you can sell something at the back afterwards. The most important thing here is that the language is more important than the medium. Okay, and the goal here is that you need to solve an immediate urgent problem. Yes, I've said that twice already, and I'm going to hammer that point home because most people out there, especially beginning internet marketers, they're just randomly putting out offers out there and they wonder why people are not opting in, or even when people join their list, they're not really that targeted. So here's the thing, you're not really here to build a massive list. That should be more of an afterthought. The most important thing here right now is that you want to build a targeted list of people who are more geared towards becoming your customer or client. So you don't need to build a list of hundreds and thousands of subscribers. Even a list of people in the low thousands will suffice, and you can run a profitable 5-figure a month business very possibly. So that being said, the next point here is that I don't want you to get carried away giving away free stuff, and this is a very amateurish mistake. The only time you should be giving something away for free should be on the front end, and that means when people have not heard of you before or they're just about to opt into your list, that's about the only time you should be giving away something for free. And you do it with the intention of only proving your worth and to show that you are the go-to person in helping your prospect solve a problem. And if you think there's something wrong with that, then I want you to remember this, that you are in business. You're not in the business of doing charity. Okay? So you're in business, you're not doing charity for free. Leave that to the other people who do not know any better when it comes to list building. All right? So that being said, I also caution you to have this kitchen sink mentality where you try to give everything away. Now, there's this popular saying by some internet marketers where you should give away your best stuff for free, prove yourself and all that. Okay? Yes, you should prove yourself, prove your worth, but there is absolutely no need and there's no merit to giving away everything, because anything that's given away for free will not be appreciated. So you want to avoid that, okay? You want to cater to people who are serious action takers, who will be a potential customers, not to people who are there to just freeload from you, okay? Focus on solving the problem, and you can follow up with offering another form of help. It could be through coaching or your other paid products. All right, so this should be the basis of creating a free offer where you solve an immediate problem. And when you break beliefs or educate your potential customers, they're going to realize that if they're going to solve this problem, they need to make more informed decisions, and that means investing in other tools or investing in a follow-up program or taking the next step. And this is where you come in. Okay, that's why you're making a free offer, to show them what they need to know and why you're the go-to person. Okay, so that's really all there is to it, to a free offer. There's nothing else to it. So don't come up with like a 100-page ebook or 200-page ebook. It's not necessary. Sometimes you can just get away with it and explain it all in as little as 20 to 40 pages and get it over with. And this is why webinars are also very effective. And you could be explaining everything in just under an hour rather than going through like 4 to 5 hours of training. People rarely have that kind of time anyway. And when they have not paid anything, they're not committed. If you're going to be giving away a lot of your best stuff, you should charge a fee for that. Okay? Previously, I had mentioned that if you're going to give away a free offer, it can come in the form of a PDF report, video, webinar, you name it. But in this video, I'll show you how you can do just that with a PDF report, and it is easily one of the fastest ways you can come up with a free offer. And if you don't like the idea of creating a video or do a webinar, that's totally fine. Because with a PDF book, people can download it and read it on their computers or even in their phones or mobile tablets. So let's do just that. So I'm not going to actually write a book here on the spot, but I'm going to show you my thought process when it comes to writing out a free report. So as you can see here, this is basically a series of text notepads. It is totally up to you, but nowadays you might notice that it takes several seconds or quite a moment for you to load Microsoft Word or a Word program because of the number of features. It's not like what it used to be. It takes a long time to load up. So normally what I like to do is come up with a notepad and just write away. It's a lot faster writing in a notepad, and I just write my contents right off the bat. But bear in mind though, when you write a notepad, the contents are not formatted whatsoever, but it's a lot faster to write away than in a Word program, especially when the pages get more or there's more content. So what I advise you to do is just write it all away in a piece of text document, or if you want to segregate it into a few chapters like what I'm doing here, feel free to do just that. Then once you have all the contents ready to go, what you do is that you open up your Word program and you just paste everything. So I'm going to just copy and paste this one in particular and paste it here. You can see how fast that was. All right, and then I'll just format away from here. Now, one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that if you want to space out the contents to the next page rather than hitting the enter key all the way, it's going to look ugly actually, because if you're going to make some changes afterwards, you have to edit the entire book to make sure that the chapters stick at the right places. So what you would do is that if this is meant to be on the next page, you press this thing called Control Enter, and there you go. So no matter what you write on the previous page, it will not affect the contents on the following pages, and they will not get jumbled up as a result. So this is often overlooked, and few people actually know that. So moving along, one thing I want to add though is that when you're writing a special report, you don't have to necessarily write hundreds of pages. You're not writing a Bible over here, so don't worry about that. In fact, it is better to write as straight to the point as possible with less fluff. If you keep it anywhere from 20 to 40 pages, it's pretty good already. I've even seen reports as short as just like 11 to 12 pages. Again, it's not about the length, it's about covering the important things you need to cover and without writing too many words as possible. So let's just go ahead. And normally what I like to do is I like to reserve the first page for the product cover. So what I do here is that I like to have a cover covering the whole page. So if you already have a cover ready to go, yes, you can just paste it here. So what I do is that I will click insert and I'll add a shape. Normally I'll take the rectangle and I will cover the entire page here just like that. Okay, place it here and make sure it's covered in its entirety. All right. So what you do after that is you right click and select format shape, click on fill, and you see there's this option called picture or texture fill. So do just that and click on file and select your cover for this product. So in this case, I'm going to use one ready to go cover. And there you go. So as you can see here, the entire page is covered just like that. Really good. And then following to the next page, of course, don't forget to save your work every now and then. So you can edit the contents anyhow you want. And let's just say this is the entire book already. What you'll do is that you can format the text by going to normal, select modify, and you can change the font size, the font body as well. I'm just going to go with Arial 14 for example, click OK, and I think this looks good. Normally I like to keep font sizes a bit bigger these days because it's easier for people to read, and that's what I would do over here. So you can also do the same with the headings as well. You can change the headings colors, the font size. Obviously the first heading should be bigger than the rest. That's something you can consider doing, and you can change the heading too as well. It's totally up to you. And there you go. So this is what I normally like to do, and have the page format nicely. So another thing you want to add is you want to add the header and footer. So you can put the number of pages by double clicking at the bottom here, footer. And let's look at insert. Or rather, let's just go to layout. So you're looking for page number, and you can put bottom of the page, and you'll see that there are a few types of styles that you can consider adding in. So there's plain number, or you can be a little bit fancy, it's totally up to you. Okay, so let's say you like it this way, you can have it aligned to the right, looks nicer that way. If you want to add a line breaker, you can do this, and there you go. And at the top of the page, the header, you can add your own title of the book. So let's just say it's called Lead Attraction Secrets, and have it aligned to the center, and there we go. Well, there's nothing really much to this whole thing. It's actually quite easy. Okay. Now do just that, and you can continue adding with the rest of the contents here. And finally, save the work. Click Save As, and you'll want to save it in PDF format. And there you go. I'm going to show you how to write a simple yet effective marketing copy, and you can do this in 4 easy steps. And you'll find that this is going to apply to email silhouettes and even when you write a Facebook sponsored post. So let's get started. Now, whether you're doing a solo ad for your email marketing or you're doing a Facebook post, you're most likely going to need a subject line or a headline. So a very simple school of thought is that you want to make that big promise, but when I say big, I don't mean hyping things up. But the most important thing here is that you need to solve an urgent, immediate problem. All right. And then when it comes to the body of the marketing copy, it usually is written in 4 steps in the formula. So you start off with talking about a problem that your prospect is facing, and then you lead in with a promise, which is usually what your offer is about, whether it's a webinar training, a free download, or even attending a live event. And naturally, the next step is to handle some immediate objections. And one of the fastest ways or the best ways to go about doing it is to furnish proof. And finally, you lead in with a call to action. Now, this 4-step formula is basically slightly rephrased from another one where the fourth step is usually naming the price, but in this case there's no price to name, and I advise against doing that because as a general rule of thumb you do not want to name the price upfront in the email or even in a Facebook sponsored post unless you are selling some e-commerce products. Then that might make sense, but in this case most of the time you will not be furnishing the price upfront. You'll be calling for action here, which is normally clicking on a link to visit your website or your landing page. So right here is an example of a marketing copy that you can use it in a solo ad or a Facebook post. So very quickly, this is originally from one of the real life actually used copy, but I had changed a few words here and there so that you don't see the name and you still get the idea. Okay, so 4 simple step process that made me 5 figures per month online. Now you might notice that this is not directly mentioned like 4 simple step process that made me $20,000 per month or things like that, because you're basically implying that other people can make the same results. So it's safer to just write 5 figures, and this is compliant with Facebook ad policy. Okay, so that's the subject line or a headline for you, and then you start off with the body. We'll talk about a problem. If you have been trying method after method with no results, you're probably doing it wrong. So what I just did here is that I'm basically qualifying the prospect. Okay, people who are not interested obviously won't read beyond this, but you're relating to them right now and their frustration. See, making money online isn't supposed to be hard, especially if you know what you're doing. My team and I had generated $2 million last year, and here's the thing. So what I just did here is that I'm coming up with a promise, all right? And also I'm taking this opportunity to introduce myself. Now, what's the difference between this part here about $2 million and 5 figures a month? But basically, these are my results. Okay, again, I'm saying this based on experience. If this your other results, then obviously you will change the number. So the most important thing here is that you do not want to imply that other people can get the same results. It's okay to talk about your results, but you cannot promise other people that they can do the same. Facebook will not like that. So my team and I had generated $2 million last year, and here's the thing. We do not author best-selling books, we do not do launches, we do not do blogging, we do not write articles, we do not attend events after events. So this is a really good proof here as well, although unintentional, but this is a great opportunity for you to bust some myths and let your prospects know that these are not the usual methods they may have already known. These are not the hard ways that they think they must do to get results. So if you're going with another type of ad, let's say weight loss, guess what? You don't have to exercise, you don't have to keep eating pills after pills, you don't have to go to surgery. So these are things that people want to hear, and that would be great because most people might have the preconceived notion that they have to go through all this sheer frustration to get results, or maybe none of it at all. Okay, moving forward. Instead, we've discovered a simpler formula to getting online sales without all the fluffs and hassles. We have also trained hundreds of students to create epic results. So what I just did here is that this is also part of the proof. Not only have I presented ourselves as proof that this works, we have also trained other students as well. You will discover all this in my PDF blueprint here. So you put a link to your website or your landing page over here. So this is basically the call to action. Now, if you're doing a live event, or even if you're trying to get signups for your strategy calls, it's still the same thing. So moving forward, whether you're looking to earn an extra income or replace a full-time job or simply make more, this is for you. To your marketing success, signed, your name. So as you can see here, this is a pretty fast and straightforward marketing copy. You can adapt it and make some changes, whether you're doing a solo ad where you're going to advertise it or you advertise it in a Facebook ads, it's pretty much the same. Now I'm going to show you how to write your follow-up email series. And what I'm going to do here is this particular video tutorial is going to be divided into 2 parts. The first part is that I'm going to run through with you some school of thoughts when it comes to writing your email series. And then in the next half, I'm going to go through the types of emails you can possibly write. So let's get started. When it comes to writing an email series, it's got to be purposeful and intentional. So in no particular order, we'll go through each of it step by step, okay? So the first and foremost thing here is readability. Very, very important. Now, when most people start writing their email series, they just leave it as default. Well, nothing really wrong with that, but check this out. Now, this is an example of an email where, as you can see, the readability is pretty good because it's neatly spaced out. The fonts are comfortably big enough. And you notice that every paragraph, there's no more than 5 lines, all right? It's about 3 to 4 lines per paragraph tops. So this is an example of an email with very good readability. And you have to understand that they're getting more and more viewers on mobile these days. So expect to get quite some subscribers who will be reading your email through mobile phones or tablets for the matter, like iPhone, iPad, Android, you name it. So on the other hand, an example of a really bad readability would be having all this bunched up together or very, very long paragraphs with small, tiny words. So to me, the litmus test is quite simply this. If you can read this email and it's comfortable on your eyes, then it passes the readability test. So that brings up to the second point here. I like to have the font size at least around 14 to 16, although ideally 16 is better. So it doesn't have to be too big, but at the same time, you don't want to be too small, especially if your target audience are usually around the middle age. You don't want them having difficulty squinting their eyes or having difficulty reading your email. So normally I put it about size 14 to 16. 16 would be the most ideal. And this depends on what kind of autoresponder you are using. I use Aweber most of the time, and I use font size 16. The next point here, this comes up as a regular debate even to this day among new email marketers. How often should I send an email to my list? I'm going to cut the chase here. You're going to send email to your list every single day. That's right. Or you're going to put a daily interval going on here. And here's why. If you send your email only once in a while, guess what? You're going to lose your subscribers' attention. And I think this is very crucial. If you are shy in marketing to your prospects, guess what? Your prospects are going to end up buying from your competitors who are not shy, or they're just shameless in marketing to them because they're more daring and they're more outgoing. So this is not up for debate. Send an email every single day throughout your email series. Okay, got it? Next point. Now, I understand that whenever you start a new email campaign or a new list, you don't want to be writing several emails like into the dozens or hundreds right off the bat. That's going to be not really a good use of your time. So normally I recommend you just start off quite humbly with anywhere from 4 to 7 email series, but have them sent out every single day from the moment your visitor joins your list. So start off with 4 to 7 email series, and after that you can consider adding more afterwards. So to this day, I have email series that go anywhere from 4 to 7 and some like 20 or 30 and above. But the most important thing is get started with just a few, and you can always test out from here. Next point, number 5, sell the click. Very important. Do not do the selling in your email. And what this means to say is that quite simply this. Let's say you're promoting a product and you're selling it at a certain price. Would you want to mention the price of the product in your email? Most of the time you should not, because even if it's affordable or even if it's cheap, you do not want to mention it. However, you can give hints like this is going at basement price. There's an early bird price going on right now. There's an intro launch special, and this goes for only an investment of dinner for 2. Okay? The most important thing here, that whenever someone opens an email, the purpose is that you want them to click on a link to go to the website. So you can be selling your own product or be an affiliate, but never ever mention the price of the product. Although you can drop hints, but the intention of every email sent out is to send people to another website. and that's what you're going to do. Even if you're giving away content for free, do not do it in an email series. Have them go to your blog or your website, and this creates more opportunities for you to promote or back and sell anything else. Next point, keep your emails short. Now, I'm not fussy about word length, but I would say I'll keep it anywhere from 100 to 300 words. And even then, there are times that I have written some shorter emails. Now, the most important thing here is that you want to get people clicking on the link whenever they open your email. So do not tell everything or give everything away in an email, because if you do that, your subscribers will have difficulty processing what's going on, and those who are not interested, guess what they do? They just trash your email away. So this is the premise of email marketing and the reason why you do follow-up email series. And that brings up to the next part of this video training. What kind of emails can you write to get people compelled and along the way build yourself as an authority figure? Now, there's no definite formula to it, although in my experience, you can come up with any combination of this type of emails. Now, the first type will be a very obvious one, a welcome email. So there's nothing much to it really. So normally you like to take this opportunity to introduce yourself, what you're all about, and what's really important is what's in it for me, or WIIFF. Okay, you see, when people join your mailing list, they have a certain expectations and you have to manage that. So let's just say, for example, you are a dating coach for men. So you got to establish your credentials, what you're all about, what is your experience like, and what can you do to help the subscriber or the prospect. So what's in it for me? So address it all in the first welcome email. Now, normally compared to the other emails, the welcome email is usually the longest. However, you do not want to write too long. And you know what? You don't have to be afraid to start selling even at this point. So you want to have a call to action right off the bat in the first email, okay? Because at the end of the day, you do not want to be building a list of freebie seekers or people who are just trained to waste your time. You want to get them to be action takers, and you want them to be your customers at the end of the day, or even be your client for the matter. So after the first email, the next day you're going to be sending another type of email. So normally what I like to do is I like to follow up with a story email. It could be based on your personal experience. I like to call it the 0 to hero moment, okay? Like who you were before and how you can relate to your prospects, and where you're at right now, where your prospects desire to be in your shoes. So it can go along the lines of, I used to be dateless or had problem pursuing women like you. Today, things have changed because after going through an A to Z training or formula or a discovery, I am now having these results. All right. Now, if you cannot come up with your own story, that's totally fine. You can always do a third-party story as well. Okay. For example, now, have you know about, scratch that. Did you know anything about the late Steve Jobs and what he did in his last moments? And here's how you can profit from his experience. Okay, I'm just making that up, by the way, but have you noticed that I'm using a third-party story? So if you don't have your own story to tell, that's totally fine. There are plenty of stories to tell, and you do it from a point of view of a third party. Okay, so moving along, if you have trained students or you have past customers who have had success with your products or your programs, you can mention them in a case study. And this is really good because this builds up social proof and social validation. Because here's the thing, nobody likes to be a pioneer and no one wants to be the first to try. Okay, so your customers will not appreciate being a guinea pig. So they like to naturally know if anyone else had done it before them and what their results were like. And this builds up more confidence. Okay, the most important thing here is that you want to inspire confidence in the usage of your program or your products. So you can come up with case study or testimonials. Another type of email you can write is to bust myths. Now, one of the mistakes that marketers tend to make is that they try to get into teaching mode. Okay, like they try to teach new stuff. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I would think that teaching your customers should be reserved in a paid product or a paid training. What they need is to experience a paradigm shift. Okay, they need to experience a paradigm shift, and that's why they're on your list. And you need to take this opportunity to be busting myths. So I'm going to use another example right now. Let's say you are selling a weight loss supplement or a weight loss program. So perhaps you can take this opportunity to bust a very commonly subscribed myth. Hey, did you know that no matter how often you go to the gym or exercise, that only accounts for 30% of your weight loss and fat burn success? The other 70%, you might find it hard to believe, is actually in the food you eat. And even so, it's not something that's readily available because you need to undo all the past damage you have done to your body and reverse the aging of your muscles. And this is why I recommend you get on my training or get these supplements. So as you can see, what I just did here is that I just busted a myth that most people subscribe to. And what you can do is that you can take this opportunity to list out maybe 2 to 3 of the most common myths that a lot of people believe in this market that you're in right now. Now, the next 2 type emails are pretty much no-brainers really. Sometimes some people just need a reminder, and you can say, hey, just a reminder in case you haven't checked this out just yet. And here's a recap. So you notice there's nothing much to it. And why reminders are very powerful is because sometimes some people don't just buy on first contact. They might need a little bit of persuasion or reminders, or sometimes they might have been away or not so attentive when they got your emails the first time. And maybe, just maybe, something in your life has changed and it just grew more urgent. And this is why reminders are very powerful. And the next type of email is called of last calls. If you're running a time-sensitive sale or a special discount that's on for a very short time, last calls will really help drive in sales in the last moments, because scarcity is a very powerful driving force. Nobody likes to miss out. So there's this thing called FOMO or FOMO, fear of missing out. It's just built naturally to most people. Okay, so you can leverage on this. Okay. Now, there are many more types of emails I can get into, but with these 6 email types alone, you can write many emails and put them all into your autoresponder. Before we get started, it is advisable that you prepare at least a few of your written email series in advance, preferably in a text notepad. So all you have to do is just copy and paste them into your follow-up email series in your autoresponder. So in this video, we're going to be using Aweber, and I'll show you how to start adding your follow-up messages in a way that would get them read and increase your open and click-through rates. So first and foremost, be sure that you have already created your list. And even if you're using other autoresponder services, you will find that the setup is quite similar despite the different names for the features. So let's get started, okay? In Aweber, go to Messages and click on Legacy Follow-up Series. Now, if you have nothing going on just yet, you're going to see that there's nothing here except 3 options for you, and we're going to choose Drag and Drop Email Builder. All right, and you see that the email builder is here. So again, it is advisable to have your email series written in advance so that all you need to do is just copy and paste them, and that makes it so much easier. So what I just did here is that I basically took a copy of my email that I written in my notepad and I just pasted them here, and you see how fast that was. This is why I like doing my content on Notepad first before I actually put it into autoresponders or even Microsoft Word, so that it just makes me a lot more efficient that way. And you see that doing this saves a bit of time, because you know when it comes to programs nowadays, they take a bit of time to load up, and editing on them takes a bit of time as well. So this way you actually work a lot smarter. Now, bear in mind though, at least in Aweber, you'll find that the contents are pretty much put together, so you will have to space them out quite a bit. Okay, so Here's what you're going to do next. You're going to select everything, and over here you're going to change the font size, and it's advisable to change it along the lines of size 16. It is proven that having your font size at around 14 to 16 gets your emails open rates better and click-through rates better as well. Here's why. Because with this, the readability just got better, and it will appear better as well when people or your subscribers open this in their mobile phones or tablets as well. So have this at font size 16, and the goal here is to make your email as readable as possible, easy on the eyes. And what I do here is that I take the link and I hyperlink the text. So I select this whole thing and I click on this icon here, or you can also press Ctrl K or Command K in Mac, and I paste the URL over here. So whatever site it is you're putting here, whether it's a download a free book or to a download page or to an affiliate link, whatever, you will want to hyperlink it. Okay, this is a lot better than just pasting out your link like this. So this will help increase your click-through rate as well. So you will also notice that in the same email, I basically have 2 to 3 links, but they usually go to the same site 99% of the time. And here's why. Because when people open the email for the first time, you want to have one link at least above the fold that they can click through right away. And as any of them choose to read on, they'll still get another reminder call to action at the bottom. So you'll want to have the email stuffed with at least 2 to 3 links going to the same website. I think 4 is kind of pushing it. Anything more than 4 is not good, because there's a very high chance that your email will get caught in spam. And also, as a gentle reminder, be mindful of the kind of choice of words you use in your emails. You want to avoid hypey words like guaranteed, make money fast, and things like that, because all this is just going to fit into the profile of a spammy email. And even if you're using a trusted autoresponder service like Aweber, you can still have the email go into spam because of all these words. So don't hype your emails up. Okay, now over here you can have some words in bold if you would like to. Let's just say I want this text in bold. I'll just click bold. If you want some highlighted, you can do that as well. All right, just for the fun of it, you can select the highlight. I like put yellow most of the time, and then at least it makes the email more readable. Okay, and finally you assign your name over here. All right. Now you might notice at the bottom of the email here, there's this line breaker. You can do that because what's going to happen by default is that when this email goes out to your subscribers, whenever they join your list, is that there's going to be a canned spam footer at the bottom. What canned spam basically is that all your unsubscribed details and your mailing list details are listed below by default. So you don't want it to be too close to your signature here. It's not going to make it look nice. So this is why I kind of spaced out 3 lines here and a line breaker over here, so it doesn't get too close. But anything more than 3 lines is kind of killing it, and Aweber or any autoresponder service for the matter will not like it. Now, another way you can do it and make the email look nicer is that you see there's this thing called the divider. You can drag and drop it below. And here we go. So you can delete this. Make sure there's just 3 lines here. 1, 2, 3. And there's this divider over here. Now, I normally like to make it 1 pixel or 2. It's totally up to you. I just put it 1 here. And at least the email looks neater right now. And at the same time, it's a break away from the canned spam footer at the bottom. So let's review this email really quickly. Looks good. I think we can leave it alone. If you want to be fancy, you feel free to, but in my experience, it's better to leave your email as simple as possible. Keep it simple, professional, straight to the point, and very good readability. So you notice that I don't even stuff a lot of lines into the paragraphs. Okay, so you'll be taken to a drafts page. Review it again, looks good. Click on send options and click on add to follow-up series. So since this is going to be the first email of its kind, you're going to see that there's no other option except this one, track clicks on website. Yes, just leave it by default. And that's good because this can give you some good statistics when people start signing up to your list. So click on the green button, add to follow-up series. And there you go. See how easy that was? Now, just to draw the point further, I'm going to add another email. Let's try it one more time. Practice makes perfect. Click on create message, drag and drop email builder, and let's do it again. So this time you're going to be adding a second email, and this is the next email your subscriber is going to read perhaps the next day. And there you go. This is what the second email is going to look like. Again, take note that I made the font size bigger than what it was to increase the readability. It's respectively spaced out. And here we go. Click save and exit. And let's review the email again. That's what I do. And as you can see, this is what the email looks like when you put it out with the canned spam footer at the bottom. Click on send options and click on add to follow-up series. So you notice that this time the options are a little bit different than what you saw previously. You see that the interval is now here. You can choose to add it any day after the previous. So normally I like to have it one day after, because you don't want to lose your subscribers' attention. It's better to send it the next day. And if you're going to have a 7-day series, for example, you want to send them on a daily basis back to back. Next, you see there's this thing called send window. You can send any day, anytime. That means if you leave this alone, your subscriber will get this literally 24 hours after the time he signs up. So if he signs this up at 1 a.m. as an example, he's going to get this email 1 a.m. the next day. Now, this might not be a good thing, because if you want your subscriber to read it at a time where he's awake most of the time, and maybe just by chance he might be awake at a time at 1 a.m. but not all the time. So you can change the time here, like say 9 a.m. and have it go out every single day. I'm going to leave this alone, all right, and click apply. So every day at 9 a.m. your subscriber will get this email, okay? So whatever it is, it's going to be 9 a.m. the next day. And then message options, yes, leave this alone. Track clicks on website. Send messages based on each subscriber's local time. I would highly encourage you to take this, and we're going to leave it at that. So I'm going to click to add to follow-up series, and we're done. You see how easy that was? To get started, I suggest you put in at least anywhere from 4 to 7 emails in your autoresponder to just get things going. Of course, the more emails, the better. And don't forget to, every now and then, monitor the open rates. And if you find any emails that are not performing, you either tweak them or even remove them entirely from your list segment. So don't be afraid to split test and find out which emails work the best. And in interest of time, I normally recommend most people to just get started with 4 to 7 emails just to get it going, get your feet wet, and you can always add emails afterwards. So there you go. For most marketers, they use landing pages to funnel their visitors into their mailing list and get their free digital gift, or even sign up for a free automated webinar event. And all this can be automated. However, what if you're using your landing page to funnel people to a live event or seminar? Or what if you're getting people to join your strategy session and get on call with you? So this part can be somewhat manual. However, done correctly, it can also be rewarding. In fact, it is quite simple. So here's how you can follow up your prospects the moment they sign up with you. And relationship building is really everything here. And although you're not expecting to get thousands of leads this way, or tens of thousands for that matter, I assure you that when you follow up with everyone closely, you can build a small but hyper responsive following of people for your brand. So normally, let's talk about live events and seminars. If you're gonna get people for your live events and seminars, it's inadequate to just send them email reminders, because we want to get them committed and actually show up at your event maybe days from now even. So what you do is basically 2 things: SMS reminder and even giving them a phone call. And this is the part where I advise you to work in a team, or at least hire a part-time crew to work with you for this duration of the event. So you can give your staff or a part-time employee a very simple script to follow and give a phone call to everyone at least the latest 1 or 2 days before the event itself. So it goes along the lines of, hey, it's name here. I'm calling because yesterday you filled in an application for name of our program or seminar. So of course the person is going to say yes, because at this point you would have already gotten the name, email, and the phone number. So you say, great, I'm just calling to confirm your attendance to our event tomorrow. Is it okay with you if I drop you an SMS reminder? So normally most people would just say yes. And again, if you qualify your prospects correctly, there's no reason for them to say no. Then you go on with this. If you need any help finding this location, here's the Waze or Google Maps or the address, and we'll see you there. So as you can see here, the conversation is started and it's over in just less than a minute. It doesn't take a lot of time, but this way you know that a prospect is serious and it's not just made up. Okay, and you can have an SMS reminder being sent from either a SMS service if you're going for bulk, or if you're running a very small enterprise at the moment, you can just get a temporary SIM card and a spare phone with the intention of sending out mass SMS reminders. And that's how easy it is. So next up, if you're doing strategy session calls for prospects who want to get on call with you and potentially become your client, here's what you're going to do differently. You want to get them to first commit. So I recommend that you get an account with timetrade.com and go for a paid plan, where basically this software allows your potential clients to schedule an online appointment with you at a specific date and time, regardless of wherever they are in the world. And once they have booked an appointment with you, then you know when to get on call with them. And this is the part where you also get on call with them either through Skype or Zoom, or whichever your preferred method is. I like using Skype because it's universal, it's free most of the time when you get on call with international calls with people around the world. So I personally like Skype. Zoom has become very popular in recent times as well, so you can also consider using the Zoom software. Okay, so yes, as you can see here, there are many ways you can do it, and TimeTrade is just one of the ways you can use to schedule online appointments and even state your availability in advance. Hello and welcome. In this video, I'll show you how to create and set up your Facebook Business Manager account. Before you start advertising on Facebook, you're going to need two things. First is a Facebook personal account, and that's a given. But the next part is a Facebook Business Manager account. So after you've set up your Facebook personal account, or you already have it, next go on to business.facebook.com and let's get started. First, click on Create Account, and then there'll be a pop-up which says Create your Business Manager account. Put in your business name, click on Continue, and then add in your business email. So once you're done, click Finish. After that, you'll be brought to your Facebook Business Manager dashboard, and in this section, there are a couple of things which you need to fill up. The first is to add or create your Facebook business page. The next is you need to create or add an ad account. If you have created your Facebook business page, click on Add Page and link your page to this ad account. If not, just click on Create Page and follow the instructions, which is pretty straightforward. Fill in the blanks and then link it to this Business Manager account. The more important one over here is that you need to add an ad account. So first, click on Create Ad Account. Type in the name for your ad account. Select the time zone, select the currency, and add in a payment method. Alternatively, you can add that afterwards. So when you're done, you just click on Create Ad Account. And there you have it. You've just created your ad account. Next up, add your business page. Over here, click on Add Page and type in the name of your page, and you're done. You've just successfully linked your Facebook page with your Facebook Business Manager account. So next, in order to start advertising, you need to set up your payment method. And in order to do that, click on Business Settings, and under Payments, add in your payment method. It could be credit card or PayPal, and then you're good to go. So I'll continue in the next video, and I'm going to show you how to create your first Facebook ad. Hi, in this video, I'll show you how to create a Facebook business page. To get started, go on to facebook.com/pages/create. You'll then be brought to this web page where you have 6 options to choose from to create your Facebook business page. Usually, you'll select local business of place. Next, fill in the details of your business page. And then next, what you want to do is follow the step-by-step guide, and this step, add a profile picture, or alternatively, you can skip this step for now. Next up, you can also add a cover photo, or you can also choose to do this afterwards. And hey, you're pretty much done. You've successfully created your Facebook business page. The next step is to customize it further so that it expresses your brand and what your business stands for. A few settings that you want to do first is to add on a profile picture or a cover page if you haven't just yet. And you'll want to customize a username for this page as quickly as possible before it can get taken over next time. And the final step is to add a short description so you can let your audience and your customer know what your business is about. This appears in your search results, and this enables you to communicate your message to your audience. And once you're done with all your settings, you can then have a fully customized Facebook page. Hey, and welcome back. In this video, we'll learn how to create and post your first Facebook ad. To do that, first and foremost, you'll need to install a Facebook pixel on your website. Now, why do you need to install a Facebook pixel? Well, pixel is a piece of tracking code that can be installed on your website or page, and this is for analytic purposes. Facebook pixels are used to track leads, conversions, retargeting your audience, and creating lists. It's also used to create a lookalike audience and to tweak your page according to your audience activities. So, first part, let's create a Facebook pixel. To do that, go to your business manager and click on Pixels. Then click on Create Pixel. Name your pixel and then click Create. Next, you're given 3 options to install the pixel on your website. You can use an integration or tag manager, manually install the code yourself, or email the instructions to a web developer if you have any. Now, installing a pixel is very simple. Click on Install the code yourself. Follow the instructions here. First, you need to locate the header code of your website, then copy the entire pixel code and paste it in the website header. You just need to click on this and it'll automatically copy to your clipboard, and then you just paste it into your website's code. And when you're done, open a new tab, go to your website to activate a pixel, or you could just come back to this page and send test traffic to a pixel. And when you're done, click Continue. Once you have installed a pixel on your website, the next step is to create your first ad. To do that, click on this button and click on Ads Manager. You will then be brought to the main interface of Ads Manager, and here are 4 tabs available. The first is Account Overview, which gives you an overview and analytics of the ad accounts you have, and the second tab is Campaign. The third tab is Ad Sets. The fourth tab is Ads. To create an ad, you'll always start off at campaign level. So to create an ad, click on this green button here, Create. There'll be a pop-up, and we are currently in quick creation mode. Now, there are 2 modes which you can use, the first being quick creation, and the second mode is guided creation. To switch between both modes, click on this button, switch to guided creation. The difference between these 2 modes is one is more efficient and quicker than the other, and that is for people who have familiarized themselves with creating Facebook ads. In guided creation mode, you will be guided step by step by Facebook in creating your ads. So first off, to create your ad, put in a campaign name, then copy and paste it in your ad set name and also the ad name. Under buying type, you can leave it as auction. In campaign objective, there are 3 categories of campaign objectives. So the first one is awareness, second is consideration, and the third one is conversion. Now, don't be overwhelmed by the amount of objectives here. Out of the many that you have here, we're most of the time using just 4 of them. So the 4 objectives are traffic, lead generation, video views, and conversion. Why this 4? Because the first being is that these are the campaign objectives that are used by businesses to get results. Under traffic, the idea is to drive traffic to the website. So this could be your sales page or your landing page. Under video views, if you're using video, and let's say it's a sales video or a product demonstration video, you can run an ad on the video and have your audience view the video. So the strategy behind video views is to use it as a retargeting by running ads to people who have viewed that video. And the third one is lead generation objective. A form pops up when an audience clicks on your ad. They then fill in the details you requested, like name, email, and maybe phone number. So this is very suitable for local businesses who are looking to capture audience nearby them. And the fourth one is conversions. And these are normally for e-commerce stores or for businesses that have sales funnels. So for example purposes, let's select traffic. And when you're done, click on Save to Draft. Next, go on to ad set level. Click on your campaign and click Edit. At this level, first for traffic section, select either of these three options depending on your product. If you have a website, then select Website. The next is Budget and Schedule, where you set how much you want to spend on advertising, your start date and your end date. Usually for budget, if you're testing a new product, it is recommended to spend between $3 to $10 depending on your budget. And when running an ad, leave it on for 24 hours, up to 3 days, and monitor the performance. If it is getting you results, you can leave it to run, otherwise you can just kill the ad. So for this example, let's set the budget to $10. You can set the start date to any time you want, and you can also set the end date. Next is the audience section, and this is very important. You have custom audience, and this is for intermediate users. This custom audience or lookalike audience is something you can use when you have more data from your customers. Moving on to location. There's a difference between all of these options here. First, if you select everyone in this location, the ad will be targeted to anyone and everyone who is based in that location. Now, if you select people who live in this location, you'll select people who have a permanent residence in that particular location. And if you select people who recently were in this location, then of course it'll be people who could just be passing by. The same case for people who are traveling in this location. So select people who live in this location. This is also useful for people who have brick and mortar local businesses. Then select a country you are targeting, and you can select the age and gender and the language. Under detailed targeting, this is for demographics, interests, and behaviors of your audience. For example, if you're targeting entrepreneurs, just type in entrepreneurs and select from the list that comes up. A good rule of thumb is to select those with a high number of audience. And what are numbers that are high are those which are like 190 million, 435,000 people. So the reason for selecting is so you can have a high reach for your ads. Now, if you select something like entrepreneurship, this would be too general, even though the number is good. So you want to look at the list and find something a little bit more targeted. For example, school for social entrepreneurs. If you have a name of an authoritative figure, a thought leader or a person like Tony Robbins or Robert Kiyosaki, then, for example, then this will help because your product is catered towards audiences who like, say, Robert Kiyosaki. So once you're done, go to the next section. In placement section, you have two options. Either you can leave it as automatic placements or choose your own placements. In automatic placements, Facebook will automatically place your ad in all of its channels, be it Instagram, in between articles, or anywhere else where Facebook sees fit. What Facebook does is it tests which of these platforms or channels yields the highest results. And when it has found that, Facebook will continuously advertise on that platform according to the objective you set. For an example, let's select Edit Placements. Under Edit Placements, you want to keep it to only Facebook feeds. The reason why is so you know which channel is working for you. So to do that, deselect Instagram, Audience Network, Right Column, Instant Articles, and keep it to strictly feeds. And when you have deselected all of this, you'll see that the potential reach is significantly lower. Previously, it was 7 million plus. Now it's only like 930,000 people. And when you're done, you can leave all this as default. Close this and you'll automatically save. Now go to your ads, click on your ad and click Edit. So in your ads tab, here's where you fill in your copy and your ad image. Now scroll down and select an image, or you can upload your own. So let's select an image, and as you can see here, Facebook has a free stock images selection. So let's just choose the doc image. Once you're done, click confirm. The preview on the right side will show the doc image, and next input your website URL. In the text section, this is where you paste in your copy, and display link, it is optional. and this is used to customize the link display to show a different URL. This is where you put the headline, and this is for the newsfeed link description. Below here is a call to action button. There are various call to action buttons that you can choose. Normally it's recommended to not have a button, and this is if you have a longer newsfeed description or a headline, so your audience is able to read a lot more. Now in the preview stage, you'll be able to see that the image selected still has a watermark. Don't worry, when you click publish, the watermark will disappear. And under the conversion tag, once you've set up a Facebook pixel, this will turn green, and when you're done, all you need to do is click on publish. In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to improve your on-page search engine optimization. So on-page SEO is practice of optimizing your website so that it will rank higher on the search result pages on search engines, especially Google. So how do you go about doing that exactly? So in the coming parts of the video, I'm just going to show you a few things step by step, and we'll go through each of them in detail. So let's start off with the page titles. All right. Now, as far as page titles go, you want to keep it below 70 characters where possible, and include at least one of your target keywords or phrases, so it's easier for people who are searching to identify that the results are relevant. Okay, and you want to position keywords towards the front of the title to lower the risk of it getting cut off on the search engine result pages whatsoever. Okay, then the next part is the meta description. So what's a meta description? Is basically a short paragraph of the text placed within the codes of your web page. Doesn't matter whether it's HTML or a WordPress site, and that explains what the page is about in a nutshell. So if anyone searches for your web page through Google, this is basically the snippet. So at times Google is going to show the users the contents of the meta description tag and the search snippet. So although meta description does not impact Google rankings, Google does use a click-through rate or CTR to determine whether your page is relevant or whether it's a good result. As a general rule of thumb, you want to limit the number of characters for meta description to 320 characters or below. Now, how do you go about exactly writing a meta description? Here are some school of thoughts. You should word it in a way that it's actionable, or write it in an active sentence, and ideally you want to include a call to action of some kind. And at the same time, you want to balance it out with matching the content and what it's all about. And this is very, very important, because Google is able to detect meta descriptions that try to trick the visitor or try to do some clickbaity kind of content. And you don't want to be doing this kind of dodgy stuff, or else you're going to risk getting penalized, because Google is in the business of serving quality content to their visitors on the search engines. All right, next one is that it should contain a focused keyword. If the search keyword matches the text in a meta description, that's going to be a big advantage here. Google will be more likely to use that meta description and highlight it in the search results. The meta description should also be unique. So you don't want to be having a duplicate or copying it or cloning from somewhere else and things like that. So a duplicate meta description will make all the pages seem as if they're all the same thing. So you don't want to be doing that kind of thing. Okay, so visit Google Search Console, and then you go to Search Appearance, and then to HTML improvements, or you can use the Screaming Frog SEO Spider to check for duplicate meta descriptions. You can also use the snippet optimizer to simulate how your title and meta description is going to be like when it appears in the SERPs. Now let's talk about your content. This is what the page is all about. So in the web page itself, it doesn't matter whether it's a HTML page or a WordPress site. You see, using keywords in your content is used by Google as a ranking factor. So the way I see it, the best rule of thumb is to use keywords naturally. Focus on what matters to your audience, not how many times you want to include a keyword over and over again and repeat it and try to do what people call keyword stuffing. So some people do that, and it's highly discouraged. I mean, it's fine to use keywords in multiple locations on your site, but just don't overdo it to the point where it seems unnatural. And Google is getting smarter these days, and if they pick this up, Google will demote your web pages in search results, and that's the last thing you want it to happen. I also recommend that you post longer and quality content to boost visitor stay on your website. Okay, putting in engaging images, videos, and diagrams would help reduce bounce rate and increase longer stay for your visitors. And these are two crucial user interaction ranking factors. Next, let's talk about images since we're talking about it. It is advisable to use original images and reference source if you're using an existing one. Okay, optimize the size of the images. The smaller the size of the image in terms of file size, the better it is, because one of the other factors is that you want to have the site load as reasonably fast as possible. And as an added part, you want to make sure that your target keyword is part of your image alternate text, or alt text in short. So use descriptive file names. It is not advisable to use random names like image1145.jpg or any names like that. You want to give them a descriptive file names like, for example, man-eat-hot-dog.jpg. I just thought that up. Okay. And you want to make sure you want to use SEO friendly addresses. Make your website URLs short and sweet. And if you're using WordPress, you won't want to take advantage of the permalinks. Okay. And it is also advisable to add your target keyword within the URL. Use internal links. Now, internal links is a hyperlink on a web page to another page within the same website or domain. So this is why websites like Wikipedia or WikiHow, that's why they always rank at the top for most Google searches, because what they did is that they built a intricate network of links among their own web pages. So what you want to do is that you want to link to the 3 in every post. Alternatively, you can link to the 5 older posts when you publish a new content. Next, you can use outbound links, and outbound links are links that are going to direct you to another website outside. So this aids Google in figuring out on your page topic, and it also shows Google that your page is what I call the hub or the center for quality information. Social sharing buttons. Now that's a really interesting one here. Social sharing generates more views, and this means more people linking to your site. So this gives you an indirect ranking boost, and Google does not take social signals into account when ranking sites, but think of it as a little way that you can create a little bit more viral exposure for every visitor who comes to your website. And finally, boosting your website speed. Now, page loading speed is an SEO ranking signal. You can boost your speed of your website loading by using a content delivery network or CDN, compressing images, and changing to faster hosting. So you can check your site's loading speed with GTmetrix and see how this goes. In this video, I'm going to show you how to improve your off-page search engine optimization, or off-page SEO in short. So what is off-page SEO? To the uninitiated, off-page SEO are basically techniques that you use to improve the ranking of your website on search engine results, like especially Google, and you do this exactly what is said of the website, and it doesn't directly happen on a website. That's called on-page SEO. Okay, so there are a few ways you can go about doing this. Chiefly, they're called link building. You can also use social media and social bookmarking. So let's get into each of these in detail. So let's start off with link building. Now, this is one of the effective ways, and it's quite timeless as well, that you can use to do off-page SEO. And here are a couple of ways that you can go about doing this. You can create quality, share-friendly content for your site. So this motivates people to want to link to your website, and what this creates is a viral sharing effect. So you want to position your website in a way that it's the go-to authority site that other websites will want to link to you. Okay. Next is that you want to create and maintain an active blog. And what this does is that it helps you get listings and links from other blogs, including blog roles and blog directories. You can also consider speeding this up by doing guest blogging or being a co-author or co-contributor on other websites or blogs in your field. So what this does is that this helps you build authority, brand awareness, and most especially, you can link back to your website, especially through your author bio. Okay, and make sure that your site's on-page SEO is also on point. Now, this is already discussed in another video, but it's also worth mentioning again that this increases ranking, which also has a positive impact on your off-page SEO. So they both have a hand in influencing each other. Okay, so due to more citations and links from the other websites. That being said, a terribly done on-page SEO can damage what you do for your off-page SEO, so just be careful of that. All right. You can also consider getting an influencer or blogger outreach, and what this involves is basically building a relationship with other well-known figures in your niche, especially if they are already established experts or bloggers on the same topic. So mentions by them as well as links to your site from their articles or social media profiles, and all the more so if they are influencers with a lot of following. This will help create more exposure for you, and that naturally generates links to your website. Participating actively in discussion boards, forums, and blog commenting also helps, but make sure that this is related to your niche topic and you do not want to be spamming everywhere. So by this, I mean leaving a thoughtful or quality comment or content that's going to help you get noticed by your audience and influencers that they follow. So in the long run, this generates natural backlinks and brand building mentioning as well. So a few ways you can go about doing this is that you can get on sites like Reddit or Quora. Next up, social media. Now, social media is a big part of the internet right now. So interactions on social media does not affect page ranking. However, social posts that generate a lot of links or clicks boost traffic to the site and generate link shares. So establish a good presence on social media with links to your website. Okay, so this includes advertising, sharing links in your blog posts, social media posts, be it Facebook, Twitter, or even Instagram for the matter. Okay, so keep your posting consistent on your social media site. And by consistent, I mean having a regular frequency. If you're going to post 2 times a week, then so be it. Next up is social bookmarking. Now, social bookmarking is a way for people to organize, search, and manage their favorite web pages. This is also one way to promote your sites and drive quality traffic and even targeted. And this is highly favored by search engines too. So they're more likely to list results from such sites. Examples of social bookmarking sites include Digg, StumbleUpon, and Delicious. Here are the simple steps for you to generate leads by running ads on Instagram, specifically through the Instagram stories or newsfeed. And these ads will run through and appear between your targeted audience's Instagram feed. The first step is to ensure that the email you are using syncs from both of your Facebook and Instagram account. You will also need a Facebook business account. Now, some of you might notice that there are users who advertise their products or services using their individual FB account. However, regardless if you choose to advertise it under an official company name or as an individual, you will definitely still need to set up an official business account or a business manager to sync it with your ad account. And when you already have a Facebook business account, you can now proceed to run your Instagram ad campaign. Go to your ads manager and click on create an ad. Then you proceed to select your campaign objectives. As we focus on generate leads, you can select your objectives from the following: traffic, engagement, app installs, video views, lead generation, messages. Then on the ad set section, click on the placements. Then click on edit placements. Click on stories or feed. For this tutorial, let's choose stories for the sake of an example. So set your budget for your campaign. The next step is to set a format for your Instagram story ad. You can either have a single image to represent your ad or a single video. Note that the recommended image or video ratio for Instagram story ad is about 9:16, so your ads will appear for like 15 seconds on the Instagram story. Then you enter the link for your website in the ad, as well as your call to action. And when you're ready with your ads, or if you want to edit some of the ad sections, click on review. And when all your settings are completed, you can then click on confirm to publish your ad. Using Reddit to publish your ads. Once you have signed up for an account and have gained enough reputation on Reddit, it is time to publish ads for your content. So head to the Reddit ads official page by going to the promoted tab. Then click the click here option, and you can also scroll all the way down on Reddit to find the advertise button. Either way, both options will get you to the official ad page. On the top right corner of the screen is the place an ad option. Clicking it will direct you to the Reddit ads page. So you need to fill in all the information you need on your content to the blank space that's provided. So start naming your campaign. Then set your preferred audience interests. For example, we're going with books and writing and comics and hobbies. You can also set the target location of your ads to be viewed. So let's go with the United States. Next, you need to add your target subreddits. For example, you want your ads to appear under the subreddit r/books. So also do note that you want your post to be both desktop and mobile friendly. Tick both boxes in the target platform section. Now next is optional. However, if you find this relevant to your content, then you can set the time and the day targeting. Next is for you to set your budget. Now, following the information given, all you need to do is set the amount of bid per budget. Then you set the schedule of your ads. You either want it to run continuously or you can manually set the start and end dates. Moving on to the creatives. Over here, you need to set what kind of campaign you're running, whether it's link or tags. Next up, you're going to need a headline, and that's a definite yes. So type the headline of your content and provide a working link in order to drive the traffic to your website. If you scroll down, you can see the preview of your ad in the desktop and mobile format. And this is the preview image of your ad. Click save and continue and you'll be directed to a summary review of your ad. And this is where you can do a final checkup on your ad before everything is a go. So if everything's in order, submit your ad for approval. And once it's approved, your ad will immediately run. And this is how you use Reddit to syndicate your content. Remember to build your credibility before you start sharing multiple links to your post. It's slow but sure, but the reputation you build will allow you or your content to get the view that it deserves.